Welcome back. Now it's time to increase our attack and try to target a database. Now when we go back to our initial scan, so I'm just now moving again into target and have a look at my target scan.nmap. We notice that there are databases as well that could be exploited. Databases are always great because they tend to contain obviously interesting information that could be useful. Now when you look at the scan, you see that on this port here, 33.6, a MySQL application is running. Now anyone who has done some databases before will recognize SQL or SQL, which is a database language. It was developed, I believe, in the 1970s. Now the nice thing about SQL is it runs really also very well in Python, and it's very common to integrate using SQLite and Python into one script. It can be embedded in scripts using double quotation marks, and it's actually quite a nice setup. I quite like it. Now we note the port number. We will come to this later. We know it's a MySQL service, so the obvious thing is to try to break in. Now, of course, that's not necessarily very easy, because when you try to log in as a root user, it's quite likely that you have to have the password. And if you don't have a password, what do we do? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to look for common passwords, and the most impressive collection is called rockyou.txt, which is a file which you find on various websites. I selected one here, but there should be also one on GitHub. Anyway, these are linked, I believe. And RockYou contains, as you can see, about 14 million unique passwords. Yeah, so these are the most common passwords used. And the idea of hacking into the MySQL service is to simply go through the list and try all these passwords and see which one gives you access to root. So that's the idea. So it's a very simple, forceful attack, just going through the list of possible passwords. So the first job is to download that list, which I already have done, so I can just clear that, and I move now to another folder. I think I kept it in passwords. Let's just do that and have a look. And you see RockYou is already stored, so you can just do a less command and have a little look. Yeah, so you see all the common passwords you would expect, princess, RockYou yourself, these are common passwords people use. And if any of these is used for our MySQL service, we should be able to break in. It might make sense to add also the blank password, so simply hit return and add this to RockYou. Yeah, you can do this obviously if you go into Nano and look at RockYou, and that will take a while, and simply add one more line with a blank password. This is quite a big list, about almost 14 million, and I already have done this. You see, I already added a blank line and just save it. Yeah, so use of course Control O for write out and then Control X. Good, so we are done here. So we have our our passwords stored in this password folder. So that's pretty good. So what we now need to do is we need to try to use them. And of course, doing this by hand will take forever. So we use a nice built-in tool called Hydra. So again, if you don't know a command, it's useful to start simply looking at Hydra and seeing what options are available. And of course, you can go through this very carefully. So this is a useful cracking tool for passwords. We will actually come across others as well, but I quite like it in particular. If the passwords are just from a standard list and you just try them, that I think is quite quick usually. And if people are stupid, you will be able to hack. Definitely. Yeah. So you have to go through all these options. We don't need many of them. We in particular want to specify our file with password, which we introduce with the P option, and otherwise we should be pretty much fine. Yeah. So here you see that's a password file. So if you want to do this, otherwise it will go through various algorithms to try to crack passwords, but it can take a long while to do this. Good. Let's give it a shot. Let's try this. So we try the Hydra, and already have of course done this once, using the -L option, using root user, specifying now the P option and then the rock-u. I'm now in a different folder, so I have to be a bit careful here. So I have to provide the path. So I need to add, I think it was passwords, I believe. We will see this in a minute. And then you see for the SQL service, I go to MySQL and then the target IP address. Yeah. So that's for the SQL service running on this machine. So I think I have done all of it. Let's see what happens. I just execute that. Okay, so that might take a while. And sometimes you also get some suggestions about modifying your options, and then of course you have to look into this and see what happens. Okay, so here we are already successful. So yeah, complete. The password is found. In this particular case, nothing is really displayed because the blank password is actually the one that works, which is quite shocking, but that's the one that actually works. Okay. Right, so now we give it a go. So I use MySQL. Again, it's something which is fairly common. I just look at the manual again. So that's basically is a simple way to go into an SQL shell where you can then basically access a database or several databases, different tables and so on, and also get information out of it. Yeah. So the help function again gives you all the details. So just have a look if you're uncertain. So I use MySQL. I use here, that's already too much because we do this later. I just want to have first some standard access. I use user root, then I use hedge for my target IP address. I put the target IP address in. The rest we do this later. Password is just blank. I hit this and you see I'm actually in. Yeah, so you see now the prompt has changed. It's now MySQL. Then it shows none because I haven't loaded any database. And now I have to use SQL to do anything with it. Now it's very common to use all caps for SQL. It's kind of a convention. In particular, if you work in SQLite in Python, this is very common to make a distinction also between using Python and SQL. So I tend to do this, but you don't have to, honestly. So I do now show databases, which should give me the databases. Of course, if you use Python, you have to be careful here. You're not used to this. You have to put a semicolon here to actually specify the delimiter. So that works, and you see a whole list of different databases. I looked at all of them, and the one that actually is the interesting one with usernames is DVWA. So I want to move to that particular one. So what you do is you just use the use command, and then you type in the name of a database, which is DVWA. Here, of course, it has to be low cap because that's the name of a database. Now you see that you change the database. The prompt has changed, so you are now in the DVWA database. Good. Again, it's useful to have a look at what the tables are. Yeah. So in SQL, I'm sure you have done this before. Data are stored in tables, and then they can have various relationships and so on. So it might be a good starting point just to see, okay, what are the tables here available? So say show tables. Again, don't forget the semicolon. I always forget that. I do way too much Python these days. And here we are. We have the guest book and we have the user. The interesting thing, of course, are the users. So I want to look into this. And to look at a table, you use a select command, and then you specify how you select. So we just do this now. We use select. In this case, I just use now the wildcard, which also works in SQL, which means I select everyone, all the users, from a particular table, and the table is called users. Okay. So, and again, semicolon, shouldn't forget that, and try to execute. Okay, that's pretty good. So here we are. That looks promising. We have a user ID. Okay, that doesn't help us too much. We have a first name, last name. We have the user. So that's really good. So for instance, now we can link the name to the user. That's already really, really good. And it even gets better because we have the password. But of course you have to be careful here because this password here is not the actual password. So that's a scrambled password, if you like. So that is called hashed. So that needs to be cracked. So that password wouldn't work right away. We have to try to crack it. Now that is something which we have to do next. That is not always easy. So one has to really look into this. And there are different types of different so-called hash types, and we talk about this as well, which we have to explore. But that's pretty impressive. So now we know there is a list of users available in this database. So now our job is now to steal it, to get access to that. So how do we do that? We go back to our main shell. If you don't know how to exit, just put a question mark. This usually works, and you get all the options here. So quit, for instance, would work. Exit would work. So I just do exit, and I'm back. Yeah, so I'm now out. I'm back in my Captain Carly shell. And now what I want to do is I want to really grab this particular table and put this into a standard file. Now there are many different ways how I can process the data. But very often I have to modify how the data looks like. Yeah, so this table is nice to download as a table. So if you do say a CSV format, this will work quite well from SQL to a CSV format. That tends to work quite well. But then, of course, very often you have to then process the data further because it doesn't have the right structure. So depending on the password cracking tool you use, some work with a list of passwords, usually as a text file, so you have to convert this into a text file. Some also combine the username and the password in a particular way. So we have to work with the data and kind of convert the data into the right format. Now, I personally think the best way to do it effectively is to write your own Python script for this. Yeah, but now to download the data, to steal the data, I would put this into a standard table CSV format, because I know I can easily upload this into, for instance, pandas, get it into a data frame. Once I have a data frame, I can do all sorts of stuff with it. I can convert as I want. I can output into various formats, yeah, either in pandas or through NumPy. So I think I should be fine. All right, let's do this. I'll use MySQL. So I almost use the same command. So U is for user, is root user, ph the target IP. Now I use the name of a database, which is DVWA. It's already popping up. The B option, the E option. Then I put in some SQL in double quotation marks. This is actually really fun. Running the SQL inside this Linux command. And then I do a redirection. We have done this before, specifying an output file. And this should move it into my output file. I could also put this into a separate folder. I just now run it like this and we see what happens. So again, I select every user from the users table and try to execute that. It will ask me for a password, and I just hit blank and I'm hopefully done. So I do ls-l, and in here you see now an output file. So let me have a look. So I do a cat out.csv. So I just see how this file looks like. And it looks good, yeah. So you have the tabs in between, looks fine. We have our names, usernames, we have the hashed passwords, and we also have a link to some avatars. Yeah, that's maybe less interesting, but that's pretty good. That's definitely useful. Yeah, it's a good start. So now the next step would be to try to actually crack these passwords, and once we have them, we can do more fun with it. You already notice one thing, that this password here and that one there, they are the same. Yeah, so these people use the same passwords, which is not usually a good idea. It might already give you some hints about what kind of passwords they use, and let's see what happens. Good. Let's continue in the next session. I see you there.